Living with bipolar disorder feels like there's a giant magnifying glass being held over my feelings, especially when I'm not well. All of my emotions, the good and the bad, are amplified during an episode. One of the hardest emotions for me to manage when I'm symptomatic has always been anger. Anger is one of those symptoms that we aren't proud of, so most people don't talk about it. It's almost taboo, like hypersexuality or suicidal thoughts. Something I've learned is that there's a big difference between normal anger and bipolar anger. Appropriate or normal anger has a specific cause and a somewhat clear way to diffuse it. For example, I might get pissed at a stranger that cut me off in traffic. Once the stranger's gone, I'm not angry anymore. Bipolar anger, especially during an episode, has no clear reason and no clear way to diffuse it. For example, I might go from driver to driver, being angry at everyone on the road for reasons that don't make a lot of sense to others in the car. I might start driving dangerously when I normally would never do that. Normal anger doesn't usually cause problems in my life. Bipolar anger scares the shit out of me. I'm talking about that burning, untethered, soul-sucking anger that just consumes my thoughts, where everything is a trigger and no one can reason with me. If some of this sounds familiar, you're in the right place. As you watch this video, try to remember that we have good and bad days just like everyone else. Not every episode of anger is attributed to mental illness. Anger also exists on a spectrum, just like bipolar disorder. There is everything from mild to wild. Getting to know your specific brand of bipolar disorder is a very important process that takes time. So experiencing anger is just part of being human, right? It's tied to that primitive yet crucial fight or flight response that we all have. Even infants express anger as one of their first notable emotions. When I enter fight or flight mode, I tend to react rather than respond. There isn't a whole lot of conscious thought going on. With bipolar anger, I'm not always sure what the threat or danger is. It feels like the entire world is a threat or a trigger. I might bounce from one target to another, misdirecting these magnified emotions. If I'm not sure what the danger is, then how can I know if I've fought it or escaped it? I'll come up with reasons to justify my anger in a desperate attempt to defend how I feel. The more desperate I get to explain how I feel, the more escalated my anger gets.
Today we're going to talk about a bipolar outburst. A bipolar outburst usually refers to an episode of intense emotion or behavior that can happen during one of the mood phases. Bipolar disorder is a mental health condition that is characterized by extreme mood swings, from emotional highs, mania, or hypomania to lows, depression. A bipolar outburst might look different depending on the phase. During a mania or hypomania or outburst, it might involve irritability, anger over small things, rapid speech, thoughts, or impulsive behaviors, risky decisions, spending stress, unsafe sex, substance use, feeling overly confident and invisible or on top of the world. During a depression, it might involve craving spells, irritability or withdrawal behavior, feeling worthlessness or hopelessness, difficulty functioning or getting out of bed. Important to know, not everyone with bipolar has a disorder, has explosive outbursts, and not everyone outbursts means someone has bipolar. These behaviors are symptoms, not person's fault. They're often signs of mood swings or not well controlled. Would like to dive into some symptoms and types of what helps manage it. Managing bipolar outbursts, whether they're happening during manic highs or low or depressive lows, takes mix of a treatment, self-awareness, and support. Here's breakdowns of strategies that help. Medication, a key foundation of most people with bipolar disorder. benefit from medications like mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, antidepressants. Now, I would say that the mood stabilizers never worked for me, but I do think they can be a valuable source for most people with schizoaffective disorder or bipolar disorder. Antidepressants usually can trigger mania. Important always to take under doctor guidance. Skipping meds is a major trigger for outbursts. Cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) helps identify triggers and changes harmful thoughts and patterns. Dialectical behavioral therapy teaches emotions or regulations of mindfulness and distress tolerance. Schizo education, learning about the disorder, helps you catch your early warning signs before an outburst. It's hard. Routine schedule. Keeping a consistent sleep schedule, sleep disturbance can trigger mania. Mania regularly meals, exercise, and downtime. Using a mood tracker to watch the patterns of an early signs of an episode. Early warning signs. Triggers must include lack of stress, lack of sleep, alcohol, even a seasonal change. Signs of an outburst is coming: racing thoughts, irritability, rapid talking or feeling unusual, sad, or flat. Having a crisis plan helps you and a loved one know what to do if this thing escalates. Sometimes I get questions from my support of why I cry. The answer is I don't know. The answer is I have this kind of disability, so it makes me cry. Trusted fans of family and support groups can ground your doing in unstable times. Let people know what helps or doesn't help when you're spiraling, like giving space versus staying close. Apps and online communication like Reddit or health forums can offer day-to-day support. Coping tools, deep breathing, exercise, or guided meditations when an emotion starts to spike. Journaling or voices memos to get the racing thoughts go out. Having a calm down routine, music showers, walk, etc. Would you like an idea to personal coping toolkit or how to support someone going through a bipolar outburst? Would you like ideas on personal coping toolkit someone else going through a bipolar outburst? You said how to support someone with bipolar outburst. GBT says someone supporting during an outburst, whether intense or sadness, impulsivity or disconnection, and can be tough too, but presents an approach a huge difference. Here's how helpful without making things worse. So when I have a bipolar outburst, it can mean that I can get very angry, but at the same time, it can mean that I can get very sad. And I don't really know if you have control over the anger at the time, but then when you look back at it, you think, oh, I'm sorry. Don't match their energy, stay grounded, speak calmly and steady tone. Avoid arguing to or trying to reason with them in the middle of an outburst. Logical usually won't land when emotions are extreme. If they are yelling or get angry, give them space. Don't take it personally. It is often the illness, not them. Sometimes when they judge just being there is enough. You can say things like, I'm here for you. This sounds really hard. Do you want to talk about it? Talk or just sit together. Avoid saying, calm down or you're overreacting. You're being dramatic. Set boundaries kindly. You can support them and protect yourself. Say, I care about you, but I can't help you if you're yelling at me. I'll step away for now and check back with you soon. If they're being unsafe to themselves or others, it's okay to call for help, like a crisis line. Emergency services, especially if they are talking about hurting themselves or others. Helping after storm. When an outburst passes it, and it will gently check in. How are you feeling now? What do you want to talk about? What happened? Avoid blaming, sticking to compassion and curiosity. Encourage long-term support. Offer them help to stick with treatment and go to appointments. Suggest tracking moods or building coping toolkit. You're even help making a crisis plan together. What do the escalate when things escalate? Don't neglect your own mental health support. Bipolar can be emotionally draining. Talk to a therapist or join a support group like NAMI Family Support, confidence in a friend, or join a different group than NAMI. NAMI is not always the answer, but they do a good job. A simple for tough moments. I know it is overwhelming. I love you and I want to help you, but I also need to take a step back. For both of us, I hear when you're ready. Would you like to help writing a simple message? Send someone going through this, or tips on what to include in a crisis plan, or another mental health group. That's my suggestion. Would you want another mental health group other than NAMI? I'm just learning about this, so this is very Ireland. I researched it this week. In the NBA, tonight's game, Detroit Pistons and Knicks tip off at 6:30. Clippers and Nuggets, Denver leading the series 1-0. Tip is at 9. Those are the two games going on tonight. The Thunder yesterday scorched the Grizzlies 131-80. The Thunder, the number 1 seed, lead the series over Memphis 1-0. Grizzlies will play away in Oklahoma City again. Tomorrow is game 2. Andrew Wiggins, former Jayhawk, led the Thunder with 21 points. Heat and Cavaliers. Cavaliers win 121-100. Donovan Mitchell scores 30 to lead the Cavs. The Warriors grabbed game 1, 95-85. Steph Curry goes for 31. Also, Boston beats the Magic in yesterday's game, 103-86. NHL tonight, matchups. Carolina Hurricane beat the New Jersey Devils 4-1. 1-0 Carolina. And that's for yesterday's game. Senators beat the Maple Leafs 6-2. The Senators lead 1-0. The Minnesota Wild beat the Golden Knights. LA Golden Knights 4-2. 1-0 lead. The Canadiens Capitals first game of the series. Face-off is at 6. St. Louis Blues play the Winnipeg Jets. Face-off is tonight at 6:30. The Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars. The Avalanche lead 1-0. Face-off is at 8:30 ESPN. And on ESPN2, it's Oilers and the LA Kings. Face-off is at 9. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report.